Cat Quest is an action RPG with a cute world and an anthropomorphic cat as its main character. But is this game totally pawsome, or would you rather end up getting a case of cat scratch fever? In Cat Quest, you take the role of a silent protagonist who's setting off in the world in order to save his sister who was kidnapped. The game is a pretty open world where you'll be able to explore and go wherever you want. There isn't a ton to see, and you're pretty much stuck in certain areas as you progress because you won't be strong enough to deal with the creatures outside of the starting area. Quests are handled in two ways, your main quest and your side quest. With the main ones, they're usually going to be told way ahead of time that, hey, there's a big dragon over on this spot and you're going to have to go there and slay it. But if you attempt to go there pretty early, you'll probably end up being too weak and end up being defeated. So, you'll need to power up your character by completing the various dungeons and side quests along the way. You'll get side quests by going to the various quest boards inside of each of the settlements, and each quest usually has multiple parts to it. You'll have to complete the first part in order to unlock the next part of the quest, and so on, and they slowly increase in levels and are a good way to gauge if you're strong enough for whatever's upcoming. By completing the side quest, you'll get bonus amounts of money, experience, and occasionally equipment that you'll be able to put on your character. Overall control and combat is pretty simplistic. You have an attack button, the ability to roll away, and then the 4 trigger buttons which are used for your spells, and you can set each trigger to whichever of the spells you want, but you can only have 4 equipped at one time. Spells in the game are pretty typical, like fire, lightning, ice, and healing, and you'll also be able to level them up by going to the arcane houses, where you'll be able to get your new spells for the first time when you find a new one, as well as being able to level up your previous magic spells all the way up to a maximum of level 10. Equipment is handled in a pretty simplistic way. You have a main weapon as well as your armor and helmet. While there's only a handful of different types for the weapons as well as the armors, you'll be able to find more of the same type as you progress through the game, completing the quest and finding them locked up in chests or straight up buying them from the blacksmith. When you end up getting another one of equipment you already have, it will level that equipment up. So if you already have a base helmet, you find another base helmet, it'll level it up a bit, making it slightly better to use. Unfortunately though, there's no way to straight up buy whichever pieces of equipment you particularly like. When you go to the blacksmith, you're able to buy one of 2 different chests, a 50 gold chest or a 5,000 gold chest, and by buying them you'll get a random piece of equipment. It may be one you want, or it may be one that you don't want. It's just kind of a gamble similar to loot boxes, but thankfully there's no microtransactions involved. The main quest and even the side quest progression-wise is pretty simplistic. A lot of it's fetch quests. Go to this spot, defeat a group of monsters, and then run back to the previous spot. And you'll pretty much be doing that throughout most of the side quests and even the main quest. The game itself isn't particularly long, taking me roughly 3.5 to 4 hours in order to complete it on my first playthrough, though I still have plenty of side quests to complete if I want to max out my character. The game is also pretty lax in its difficulty. When you end up failing a quest or you end up dying during battle, you'll just get set back a little bit to wherever you previously saved, or starting the beginning of the quest over again, and most quests in the game only take a matter of minutes to complete anyway. You also really don't get any penalty for dying during these quests, and you keep any of the money and experience you earned. My really only issue with Cat Quest is its relatively short nature, not only in its overall design. The world, while it is quite big and there's a decent amount of dungeons to go into, they all look very similar to one another, and you're fighting the same monster types almost from the beginning of the game all the way through the end, and they don't even change in color scheme. They're the same exact monster, just attack you slightly harder. From the technical side of things, though, the game ran smoothly. I didn't run into any major glitching, crashing, or slowdown of any sort. Cat Quest is available now on the PS4 for $19.99. It does have a Platinum trophy, and it's a pretty easy Platinum to get, mostly focused around beating every one of the side quests and completing every one of the dungeons, as well as leveling up your character up to level 99. The game is also available on the Nintendo Switch, PC, and mobile devices. Overall, Cat Quest is a pretty simple action RPG. The cute aesthetic of the world, as well as its relatively cheery soundtrack, will definitely be enjoyable for a lot of people out there, and if you're looking for either a simple RPG or maybe your first ever action RPG, this may be a good one to kind of enter into, and thankfully isn't extremely expensive, even though the game ends up being relatively short. With everything said, I'm going to be giving Cat Quest a 7 out of 10. But anyway guys, it's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.